Here we are. There we go. Let me get all these sounds done. I need to turn down iTunes and turn down my actual speakers so the sound does not echo. Do that one. We can turn that up. Turn this down. Maybe. And then... there we go. Okay. Boom. Well, my webcam should come on. Because... let's do... oh, I bet I know. Is... that... there we go. And then... let's do... should pop it up because I recorded some stuff for the next YouTube video. There we go. Had to reload. Had to update drivers. So, hey everyone. Took painting classes. It's too digitally focused. So here's the deal. I think kind of whatever the main goal is, that's where he should start just to get more muscle memory doing whichever one. I will say I do recommend starting with a pencil and paper because the best way to get better, and I'm actually going to be making a YouTube video about this, the best way to get better is get a ream of 500 sheets of computer paper, right, for like $3, $4 at the store. Doesn't even have to be good computer paper. It can just be any copy paper anywhere. So if they had it on sale, back to school, whatever, just get a ream of it and get a box, literally a box of, here we go. Mechanical pencils. I just have, how many are in here? Probably 20 or 30. 24. Okay. Get that. It's less than $10 and you will have 500 pieces of art minimum. And that's if you only do the front page of every single piece of paper. If you flip it, you have 1,000 drawings you can get through. It's a great way to go. And what's even cooler is now with cell phones being as good as they are, you can take a picture on your cell phone, make sure it's lit well, take a picture on your cell phone, and then bring that into Photoshop or Krita or whatever you're working on and figure out what that process looks like. How do I take my line art that I have from my traditional stuff and bring it over to digital, clean it up, and then color and do whatever, paint on top of it, you know. It's a nice mixed media way to work, and that way you don't feel like, well, I have all these like things, reams of paper that I drew on, but nobody could ever see it, or it can't be used for anything. It can be. You can just take a picture and then basically scan it into your computer. Thought I had to do it before anything, got my big shapes. Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to learn. And the nice thing is you're not so worried about all the other stuff. You're not worried about, well, what brush do I use? Well, what color? Well, what this? Well, what, settings and DPI and all the nonsense that comes with it. You just have a pencil and a paper and, hey, can you make this picture look good? Cool. And then do that 1,000 times. And I promise you, because you have to think, if each one of those takes you, let's say 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, and you fill up that's 250 hours. That's a pretty good chunk towards your 10,000 hours of mastery, is if you knock out something like that. I mean, that's a drawing every day for about 1.5 years, right? 365, and then, a little less than 1.5 years, but yeah, for what, $8? If that, and that's if you get a 24 pack of pencils. Like, it's unbelievable. If you get ballpoint pens, those things last forever too, so you don't even need that. But yeah, I finalized my 2025 brush pack. It's done. I have everything I want in there, tweaked to the right settings. The next order of business is to take it into Clip Studio and make sure they work okay in there. I might be able to release them near the end of November and early December, like before Christmas, which is crazy. That it'll be the first time the yearly brush pack has been done before the year of the title of it. So like all my other ones come out like the second or third week of January for the year that they're labeled. But this one's going to come out a few weeks before at least, which is pretty cool. Yeah, people, and me included, like to put all the hard stuff at the forefront. And it's funny, that's actually the theme of the YouTube video coming up, is kind of learning to be okay with just kind of the bare bones, or where you're at right now, or like accepting that. And so pretty fun stuff. But, do as I say, not as I do, because I am still in my, I need to get better immediately at everything. I'm in that phase right now, so. Line and wash traditionally. I'll tell you what, man, look up Thomas Elliott. Thomas Elliott has some bangers, and that's all he's been doing lately. He's just been doing ink wash, and that's it. And he'll go and he'll get the Dollar Rowley, the Walmart stuff, and he just goes and gets an ink deal and gets kind of a a Wakshi brush, dips it in kind of a watercolor brush, and makes the best looking Warhammer art you've ever seen. Super cool. But yeah, so I will show you guys what I'm working on. I drew this up in like 10 minutes. I'm kind of okay with it, but not really. I'm going to do a lot of changes to it. But basically, all of this was essentially imagination. I just rendered these out before I went live. So this is part of what the correction I'm going to be doing is, because this was from imagination. I'm actually kind of proud of the pose. It's not right, clearly, because we see the DAZ models are showing us what parts of it could be wrong. But it's of my Guild Wars character. One of them. So I'm going to thin him out a little bit. I don't like how big and chunky the jacket is. So I'm going to like modify this. It's going to be a little bit sleeker jacket. Let's see, I got the face stuff. He's a level 80, but I haven't gotten any like item sets. But I just got all these as almost reference pictures in the game, right? just different angles and how stuff looks and goes over and stuff. So that way we can maybe use the 3D model, get down the shape, and then put the stuff on, like draw on top of him. And see, I tried to do a kneeling pose, but the jacket's so big and janky and the collision detection's so off that it's not even usable. So, but yeah, I can get some of the, like the shape of the bow and stuff like that. That way if I need it. I also like the surroundings, but I don't know if I'm actually going to have a lot of surroundings in the painting. I don't think I will, actually. But, like I said, I had this Daz model, and I still have Daz open so you guys can see how I do this. But then I also had some Joe Mad stuff. I've been getting more into comic book illustrators lately because they have achieved kind of what my, not my overall goal is, but I need to simplify stuff. I need to have better compositions. I need to have better shapes. I need to have strong silhouettes. I need all that stuff. And comic book artists are like, mwah, chef's kiss. They get it. Joe Mad is somebody who's so stylized that it blows me away, but his silhouettes are good. You know what I mean? Like, this is from Darksiders. Yeah, Darksiders Genesis, which I reinstalled. I've had Darksiders, and then of course you have Rob Delatorre with his inks and his shapes and stuff. So I have no idea what the actual, and here's Joe Mad, just line art, which is nuts. Super good. But yeah, Rob Delatorre inks, Rob Delatorre inks. I like the ink wash that you can see, where it's like not as thick in certain spots. I actually have a brush that does this, by the way, that I'm excited to show you guys, because I'm going to be using the new brush pack from now on until it releases. Magnolia Raw, yes, Mike is incredible. You know, no surprises there, but that's sort of, okay, these shapes are stylized, but they tell the story and like that stuff. So you can see my chicken scratchy stuff. And really what I was thinking is the composition might be closer, because see, I had it all the way out here first. And I think I like that better. I also had some hills and different canyon stuff. So I couldn't decide on how much of the frame I wanted the character to be. I'm like off to the side, but is it cramping the space? I don't know. Like, there's a lot. I can't even really decide on what I want the piece to be, much less what's going to be in it. You know? Because if I had this here, I was thinking about having... Let me do that. Basically having... like smoke in the background. Basically, I'm going to try to break apart what I think about the value composition. Instead of having my lightest in the background, what if my smoke was the lightest, and what if that was right behind my... Let me get rid of some of this. And what if that was right behind my main focal point? Something like that. It almost reads like a comic book cover, which is cool. Sherry, what's up? It's good to see everyone. So yeah, yesterday was crazy. So we got done with all of our plans and it was already like midnight. And I was like, there's no way I can stream until 4 a.m. again. Can't happen. So we pushed it to today. But hopefully you guys have off work, or, you know, Labor Day, or go in late or something. So yeah, what we're, Laura, hello, hello. Good to see you. So yeah, this was the kind of, general idea, almost like our ranger here is almost like a ninja. But yeah, his jacket's really bulky. And if you get rid of the jacket, he doesn't have any shoulder pads or anything, so he doesn't look as cool. So I was like, okay, let's just have our character, right? All of his gear. But let me modify this jacket. Let me make it a little bit more almost like Van Helsing, like kind of slim taper leather jacket stuff. So I drew the pose out of imagination, and it's not right, but it's also not bad. It was actually way closer than I thought, and something I was very pleased with. That hand right here, there was no reference. I just did it. I was like, what if he does like one finger down, kind of like that? So I'm gonna keep that because I like it. I think it turned out really good, and I was real happy with it. So we're gonna keep that. The only thing I did notice is I got here in Daz and set up some lights. I know a few people out there were asking why I don't use 3D more. And my answer is because I didn't really know how to use it. But I have Daz, I have Unreal, I have Unity, I have Blender, I have Maya, I have a whole bunch of stuff. But from what I've found, the quickest way to go for characters is going to be Daz. It just is. It's good at posing, it keeps things locked pretty well. You can just change the camera dimensions and the aspect ratio is fine. So the aspect ratio here is the exact same as my canvas. You see I went into my render mode and my canvas is 4,500 by 6,000 or something. So I just halved it, kept the aspect ratio. That way I can kind of play with how the render looks and like where the character looks good. I'm trying to decide if I want the feet to be blocked or not, you know? Because, I mean, you can really just come in here and do all sorts of fun stuff. Let's do... Okay, that's tilt. Oh, it's, yeah, okay. Q, and I was wondering, I was like, what are the... So, like, you can do a whole lot of cool poses and stuff, but I thought this one where we could go a little, dramatic, kind of up here. Something like that. Almost like a superhero pose. So maybe something like that. You know what I mean? Because if you have a pose like this, that's sort of what we have here. See, he's leaned a little too far forward and stuff, so the anatomy's off, the posture's kind of wrong. At least compared to the Daz model. What's up, Michael? But, you know, it gets the overall idea, and yeah, I have no idea what I'd want the actual background to be. I know this could just be rocks, because, I mean, our main thing that we're going to worry about is the character. So I'm wondering if I should just keep going with this, even though the anatomy's kind of off, but because I technically, like, drew it from imagination. Or I could do the smart thing and just how I rendered these out. I can, like, grab this one. I can just do this. I can go, like, copy. You know, you have something like this. And that way you can just mess around and drag them around and stuff like that. But I don't know. I do not know. It is helpful to have the face. I might not even put the face mask on the character, because while I like the shapes, it's like that Death Note pose, right? Of the demon, whatever that demon's name is. That but the mask is cool in like the ninja kind of way, but it also makes it, I don't know. That's the thing. I'm just very wishy-washy on a bunch of stuff lately. Nothing I'm making is like super captivating to me. And I don't know which part of the process to blame. I don't know if it's because I need to like really dedicate time to line art and make it look really sharp and then use it from there, or, you know, because that's very a Joe Mad kind of thing to do. I've also been watching a lot of Tim McBurney, and he is great at that, at doing the sketch process. Then, you know, refine the line art and then make sure the shapes read well. So he makes sure that image works at every step of the way, which is super smart. I just get very impatient, and I want to like push forward, even though it's probably not ready to. So this is the part of the image where it's like, this is why personal art can be hard sometimes. Nobody's paying me for this one. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, the only thing I get out of this is improvement. So what do I want to improve? Do I want to do the thing that I already know I'm pretty good at, which is paint? Or do I work on the stuff I'm not good at? But that is a grind. That's just makes you very weary. And, you know, because you're like, God, I can't wait to get past this part so I can make the image look good. But maybe spending more time in this sketch phase to try to figure stuff out is the answer. And like, you can see this line right here. That's kind of where the jacket would be, I would think, if it fit a little slimmer, like more kind of form-fitting. And kind of this one right here as well. To kind of come back down here. Maybe the jacket needs to... Maybe it needs to be like a Spawn jacket and like... come up. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't really fit the character either, because the character is very... He has wild and crazy like anime hair, but he's actually pretty stoic, like pretty well put together. So, yeah, I mean, improvement is money in the bank. That is true. Yeah, Photoshop's weird. It's the what's it called? The over scroll, I think it is, which is where you can like actually have the canvas completely off the panel, and it's kind of an infinite size thing, but whenever you're resizing stuff, it uses the transform arrows and the transform tool to like resize your viewport window as well, so it gets really finicky, you know. So that's the thing. Do I keep with this, even though the pose is not technically correct, and like we start line arting and figuring it out? Or do we do the do we bring in our figure, use this to draw on top of? You know what I mean? To really make sure that stuff is forming around a character. Because this is kind of what the mannequins in Clip Studio are like. It's just Daz is nice because it's free and you can change the proportions of the body really well. Like you can make this guy like a bodybuilder. There's like little, I can show you, there's a little just sliders basically that if you go over to... Okay, yeah. So yeah, if I wanted him to be like more muscular, you can do stuff like that, and it does it all in real time, so it re-renders out for you and stuff like that. You can do that. If you want them to be more like emaciated, it actually takes muscle mass off of them. Portly, just more like body fat percentage, you can do that too. And then you can do that per area, so you can have bigger neck muscle. I mean, you can really go in and do this. And then, of course, you can pose different parts. So, like, if I wanted the hand to come back up, I can pick something like that. Let me just do that one. Let me come over here. That's the thing. I'm just not used to Daz at the point yet. I'm not super comfortable with it yet. But you can, we get like the rotate, hit the hand, and this is on the wrist joint. So you can do a rotation, and it's nice because it doesn't let you go out of the realms of like what you could naturally do. So it's not going to completely break. So, and I can even bring out like, I can like get this finger and do that thing, you know, kind of the thing that I drew. So I can do that. Makes the painting much faster on the back end. I mean, that's probably true, because then I'm not guessing. Then I'm not like, well, this could be like this or this could be like this. Like, I could just make the decision in the drawing phase. One, it gets me more practice drawing, which is kind of a goal anyway. But then, yeah, it's a way you can really map in shadows and cast shadows, and you can be like, okay, if this is here and the light's here, we see that this is coming up, so it has to, like, it'll probably answer more questions than it leaves us with, which is always a good thing. So if we do something like that, and I know there's stuff you can put on, like you can put hairstyles and stuff on the mannequins here, but I actually like just using the mannequin and then drawing on top of it. I've only done it a few times. I did it once for Warhammer, and then I don't think I published any of the other stuff, because it was all like just experimenting and seeing if I could do it. But yeah, so you have something like that, and then you can even like, oh, we're gonna get the head, and we're gonna turn it this way, and then he's gonna look this way, maybe more dramatic. Maybe he's looking out like that. That 3/4 view. Or he could be, and see that it won't let you rotate the neck further than what's essentially anatomically correct. So whenever the software gives us boundaries like this, it's super nice, because you never worry about it looking super unnatural. Well, that's actually kind of cool. I like it where the head's up and kind of like tilted a little. Yeah, let's do something like that. And then you can here's perspective view, layer texture, cartoon shaded, smooth shaded. Is there a way to hide the lights? But just in this view. There probably is, but because I want them to show here, but to be hidden in this viewport, because this is actually a render viewport. So if we come over here and we go render, it's going to take it a minute. So I always minimize it, because it's going to make my computer crawl for a minute. There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, rendering is a hog. No matter what computer you have, DAZ rendering, Blender rendering, Maya rendering, any of that stuff is going to eat every ounce of compute power that you have, whether it's CPU or GPU, doesn't matter. It's going to eat every bit of it. So sorry if the stream or music glitched out for a few seconds there. But what you have is you have this. Nice transparent with a shadow, which is cool. It looks a little bit more melancholy in this one. Oh, but we got the hand. Look at that. Yeah, buddy. But yeah, overall the shape looks good. So if we do DAZ render 3 on the desktop, we're going to save it. And really what I can do, just to make sure we get the cleanest render, bam, open up the transparent version. That way we can just drag them and drop them in there. Can you give them expressions? Yes. So it's actually not a bad idea. The expressions aren't super like animated, but they can be pretty good. So if we do that, face, mouth. Here's mouth realism. Eyes, eyelash curl, eyelash length. And see, that's the other thing. So there's so many options within this. I don't know if this model has expression stuff turned on, but that's the thing, is like this is just a base model, so it should have everything. Actor. Okay, so bodybuilder size, full body, head scale, but yeah, face. Huh. You can add elf ears, which I probably actually should, because my guy is an elf. I mean, that is no... Or he's Sylvari, I guess. Whatever Guild Wars' version of the elves are. I probably could do that. Using the 3D model as a reference. So yeah, we're just going to do this. We're going to render it out. Actually, we may not render this one out, just because I don't want it to slam my CPU again. But yeah, we're just going to go in and basically we're going to have the outline of him. We're going to trace the main shapes. We're going to get it locked in. Then we're going to open our reference of the character and the outfit. And literally using our mind as a 3D software, we're going to draw the stuff onto the character. So it would be like if we had a perfect pose of this character with all the stuff on, but we're going to lock it into this shape of the other render. Which is why I took different pictures of different, like, here's a fairly front-facing thing. Here's one a little further back, a slightly different angle to get more of kind of how the silhouette is built. That one was just... This is the kneeling, but you can see how the jacket just flared out and made it not work. But then, like, the bow. So, basically, we collect the references of our Guild Wars character, like, who the character is. And, like, here's how the lapel of the jacket works. We might shrink that down. It depends. We just don't want to block the face too much. Oh yeah, and there you can see the kind of the elf ears. I think they're leaves, actually, but it looks like elf ears. And then that's kind of the face at the same direction that the piece was before. But really what we would do is just use the facial structure of our DAZ person and either put the mask over it or just drop the mask entirely. Doesn't matter. It's really, this whole exercise is just, I wanted a better looking image, like to work kind of on composition. But I don't know, that's the thing. I don't know if the image would be worth doing. Because that's where I'm kind of at as far as... So if we went down and like up, maybe like this could be a little better. Because then we can do the smoke back here. We could do just little bits of foreground elements in front of him. And then maybe like we can use the old cheat of a sky clouds or something back here. Because that's the thing, I do like the pose. I like the pose and I like the idea. But it's getting the shapes locked in such a way that it actually, I guess, warrants putting the effort to make the image. Because whenever you're paid by somebody, whenever you get a prompt or whatever, or a brief from a client, like that's it. Then you got the thing. You don't have to think about any of this really, because it's like, okay, they need this and they would like it in this style and this thing, and it actually makes it way easier because now I know what the expectation is. But on personal pieces, where it's just kind of it's up to for me to do whatever I want. I don't know, like, yeah, we'll make something. I don't know if it'll be any good, but we'll make it, you know. So yeah, Clip Studio does have, they have their 3D models, which I highly recommend. It's way less system intensive than a DAZ is. DAZ gives you way faster renders, way better renders, but you don't even really need to render stuff. I could just screenshot this. I could just F12 screenshot and then paste this screenshot into photo. You don't have to render anything. It's just a render's nicer because, one, it just looks nicer. The lighting is cooler and like it's smoother, but also it's transparent. So you can just put it anywhere on your canvas and just move him around until he's right where you want him. And, you know, and the nice thing is I have point lights set up. So I have 2 point lights. I have one right under him doing kind of a bounce, and then one kind of, this one that you see right here, it's doing this. But then these lights back here are actually pretty far back, but they are what's called the distant lights, and they just fill up. This is your fill light, basically. You have your fill light right here, and then these 2 point lights are your, you have a rim light and you have a key light. So that's sort of how I set this up. So I will render this because I think I like this pose, and plus I don't have to work on the boots or this hand, which is nice. This hand looks good, so we'll keep that. I could bring the bow in, almost like he's tracking something. Is that right? Would that be neat? Let's see. Let's add a camera right here. This camera 1. Accept. Now, did it make a camera where I am? Or did it make a camera somewhere else? Who's to say? See, that's the thing about DAZ. I haven't used it enough to like know all the hotkeys and nuances. Like, it could have made a camera somewhere, and then whenever we try to render, it's going to render out something bunk. Or it could be where I'm at based on my viewport, because I can do that in Unreal pretty easy. I can be like, oh, go ahead and you know, place a camera right where I am at my focal length, and like it's 2 button presses. And that might be the same here, but there's so many menus on DAZ, I have no idea what's going on. Let's see this. So I am going to render this real quick. I apologize if the music starts skipping or it seems like my internet goes wonky. It's not my internet. This thing is a CPU hog, and it's gonna take whatever it wants, man. Okay, so we'll do it in 3, 2, 1. And I'm gonna minimize it to help a little bit. All right, there we go. So yeah, I know we can like light the or color the lighting. There's a reason I'm not going to do that yet, is because I have an idea of how I'm going to color this one. And it's different, but it is heavily inspired. We talked about Thomas Eliot earlier. Heavily inspired by him, and heavily inspired by, who else does it? Karl Kopinski might actually do it this way. He essentially uses 2 gradient maps, one for the background and one for the focal point. The gradient maps are different temperatures, so if the background's a cooler gradient map, the main thing will be a warmer one, or vice versa. Usually it's like a blue and like a yellow ochre. But then you basically, you know how we talked about contrast on our big value stream that we did, about like you'll never really mix your values. Like your lights are your lights, and your brightest brights will never be in your shadows. They take that idea, but they do that with color, to where the main contrast they have great values, of course, but their main contrast is actually with color. So anything that would be like chaos demons would be this pink and red gradient, but anything on this like another kill team or whatever would be yellow and black gradient. So it's almost like they're wearing uniforms in a way. It's like you can tell immediately what you're looking at because the color scripting is correct. Like they're all different, and so the background and all the surroundings and stuff, but then you have your main thing. So another good idea is if you look at any contemporary over the past 5 years or so, any cover for White Dwarf magazine, they do that, but they do that after the fact. They just take an image and put like, they overlay one green over top of it, and then mask out the main character. So the character is like all these different colors, but then everything else in the picture is just green. And it seems easy, and it is easy, but it works. And I'm wondering if that might actually be a great way to go. Then if you have those colors like that, then if you go and get some thick brushes or whatever, you can do some really cool looking brush work, but you're never not like background of green. You're never getting away from the greens, but the greens can look nice and painterly. I wonder if there's something to that. It could help readability. It could help differentiate the environment from the character. Like, it does a whole lot, and it's less about the physical or even like the mentality of like, well, if the light bounced this way and it did this, you start abstracting it, so that stuff doesn't matter as much. And I think that might be good for me, because I get so hung up on that other crap about like, well, technically if the sun was this and it was golden hour and then then the yellow bounces off the blah blah blah, like, fine, but is the image any good? Like, this is my version of the art midlife crisis. It's like, yeah, I could have all the theory for days and read 4,000 books, but if the images look bad, then who cares? Doesn't care what you know, like, doesn't matter. Just how cool does the image look? So let's see if that actually worked. I don't even know what it rendered. Oh yeah, we got the good render. Hey, bud. Yeah, look at those weird eyes. Oh, man. See, oh, here's what I like about this, by the way. See how this finger, darker, you have darks, darks, darks. Then the light next to the dark, next to the dark, next to a dark, next to a light. See, this is why the render, getting your lighting down quick on a 3D thing saves so much freaking time. Because, like, now we know the fill light comes in here. We know this is our darkest part. We know, like, it gives us our information. There's a little bit of a rim light coming around, a little bit of one right here. Main light hits right here. Yeah. See, it's invaluable. The nice slice of shadow right here because of the leg. Yeah. See, this is interesting. That's more interesting to me. 4. We're gonna save it. Boom. Cool. Now let's bring him in and see what we got. And it is weird to see it without any other angles, with like nothing to put him in a situation, as it were. So here's what we do. We do this. Get rid of sketch. I mean, really what we would do. Here's the real thing. All right. Idea 1. Then hide that. So we can essentially start this. So we can almost think of this as a thumbnail, right? This would just be a rough thumbnail of like, here's what the idea is. So if we have that. So here is, here's composition 101. Where the hell do we put this guy? Because I like this idea of kind of the off-center, lower left look. But now, what happens around him? You know? We could do the Warhammer thing to where we have like the impressionistic sort of background trees or something, and then those kind of watercolor out to be transparent, almost like a spot illustration. Or do you make him bigger, taking up more of the frame? Yeah, because he's not, I mean, he's just a normal ranger. He's just a duder. So that's the thing. So what kind of story do you want to tell? Is it melancholy? Because if so, then yeah, let's get him right there. Great. Is it something actually kind of dramatic? Because what we could do, and what I might actually do, because this might work pretty well, is once we get further along and everything's kind of in place, we can just grab everything and go like this. So the entire composition has a Dutch tilt, has that nice sort of action sort of thing. So we can do something like that. Because yeah. Because here, it's almost like you're giving him space to look. What's he looking at? But here, he's looking out of the frame. Which I think is cool. I mean, it's definitely allowed. Some art teachers will tell you that's a no-no. Always make people look to the middle of the canvas. It's not always true. I think right here, because I like the idea of like that smoke coming up and maybe some smoke coming up in front. We can do that. Yeah. So see, you know, just kind of the basic stuff in there. So now the fun part. Now is when we come over here. We do this. Line art. So yeah. This is... God, how many brushes? 48 brushes? These are the brushes that made my cut for the 2025 brush pack. Because all of them are super useful. And all of them give a sense of energy that none of my other brushes have done before. You make the eye run up diagonal across the page. That's true. Give them a little like See, this is what's so nice about having just a transparent picture of your character. So you can just kind of do whatever you want, really. And in fact, I can kind of resize them a little. Ooh, maybe. Interesting. Because I know I said I like that. But I think this, the body's a little too stoic. So if we tilt him to where he's looking straight, it makes the body lean a little different. Now, I do realize... So what I might do... I'll need to remember I said this, 20 hours after we're past this part. I think this works well because the body's angled now. This part of his leg would have to kick out a little bit for him to support his weight that way. Because if you're like this, you're going to tip over. Literally, you're going to tip over. But this also solidifies the idea of a Dutch tilt. So if I make the image like this, and actually put him here, because that's the thing, we can decide on where we want him right before we save the final and sign the thing. Because we can always just merge all, make it bigger, and start like rotating it around and, all that stuff. So if we did something like this, then at the end is when you make him bigger, tilt him a little bit. It's like, who's to say this has to be the final canvas size? But this is a 9x12. I was hoping this one would be good enough to make a print of. But I don't know who would want a print of my Guild Wars 2 character. You know what I mean? So, who knows? So let's just do this. Enough jibba jabba, enough stalling. Let's start sketching. All right, let me move my drink. I'll move my mic. And by the way, this is about how much time I spend planning each individual part of an image. Which is maybe a waste of time, I don't know. But let's go ahead. Put our pencil here. Let's go ahead and make this multiply. Okay, it's already multiplied. Good. So yeah, our main thing that we're going to do, we can come here. And it's funny, this is probably my best sketch brush I've ever made. It's my favorite one to use because it feels like a real #2 pencil. And Photoshop is notorious for having dreadful pencils. Dreadful. So I was real happy when I figured this one out, you know. So what you do... do the 3/4 thing. And yeah, and Sherry, you made a good point earlier about if you could make the character a little more angular. I don't think you can. I mean, not unless you go in and kind of abstract the polygons and stuff. But the nice thing is, really, we're just using this as a base. And we can come in a little bit later and make the shapes a little more dynamic. That part's not super hard, in my opinion, at least. Get rid of his butt chin a little bit. Make his top lip a little smaller. We'll just add some random lines because we'll come in and momentarily and put the hair and stuff in. Yeah, the 3D models are great. I highly recommend you use them. Highly, highly, highly. Actually, let me get that. Cool. And this is here. And the nice thing about this, these are just landmarks because we're actually about to draw on top of these as well, right? Because this is just the skin. So if we wanted the jacket to like drape over and stuff, we're going to do that on another layer. We're going to do the sketching of the stuff on top of this layer. So this is just always going to be here. You could just use this as your sketch. You could use the model as your sketch and then just draw on top what you would want as your new sketch layer, if that makes sense. Like maybe not do what I'm doing here of getting this. But the reason I'm doing this, one, it actually helps me feel the fluidity of the forms. Like if I get my hands under it, I can sort of figure it out, you know? Like one of the best ways, if you have a really difficult reference picture you're trying to get and you don't want to trace it for your final, I actually do recommend tracing it a few times just to practice it. Just so you get a feel for kind of what you're seeing. Like here's a good one. We'll just square off that. Yeah. It does make hands pretty easy, which is nice. We may even go back in and edit them because he has to wear some gloves, so we have to make these a little bigger and stuff. But yeah, it gives that stuff, makes it way easier. And then like these gloves are going to be a little different and all that. So, but also it's nice because this tells me on the form where does the leg go into the pelvic region of like, and then the torso comes up, but where does the chest come down? So we're going to use that info and transfer it. So this is actually what I do on pro stuff. If a company, namely Games Workshop, has a model that they want you to put. There's the back of the boot. Cool. If they have a model they want you to feature in your art piece, this is like exactly how I would do it. Like verbatim. I would get a model, I would pose it how I wanted, I would get that approved, then I would come in and see what's nice about this. Now you have your outline. You know what I mean? You have your really strong outline. But what I was saying is, yeah, I would do the basic pose and like a DAZ or something. Then I would bring up the model and like draw the stuff on top of it and make sure that it worked. Because the good news is we know the model works. We know this works because it's traced. We know it works. We see it. And it's a great starting point. Design sketch. Okay. So this is where we're going to come in. I'm going to keep this active. I'm going to lower this line art a little bit for opacity. Then we are going to do something like this. Because the angles are kind of the same. It's sort of the 3/4 sort of turned this way. And then we're literally just going to use our brain and think, okay, how is this draping over our character? How are the shoulders or this, or how's the torso turned? So like, this is what's real nice about 3D, is it forces you to start making those decisions. So perfect example is this. I'm going to keep my sketch brush. I'm going to turn this on, multiply. Keep this pure black right here. So this, we have this. This would actually be something over here. Because if we have the and see, this is where it's going to take a little bit to really get these angles down. So this is the collar, and the collar is going to come up and around because it has to go around the neck. And then it would come back down here, right? That sort of thing. So you're still working in 3D, but you're doing it in your brain. And you're like turning stuff. And that's where things can get kind of finicky. And it's a little foreshortened. So it's not, see, that's a little... So we're just going to play with this a little bit. We're going to start putting in these basic sort of geometric shapes. And then that comes up on the side, but that needs to be... And this is where things can get a little... Actually, that needs to come out here because this one is actually that one. Okay. And then that's actually fairly correct already. It's kind of a nice side view. So that sort of saved our butt right there. See, we're just putting the lines and stuff in. We're going to come back and fix it all, of course. But we basically just need this stuff here to start telling us where these silhouette shapes are really going to be. See, it looks really odd right now. But it should end up looking a little better as we start putting more and more on it. We start layering things and this one's here. That one has to be here. And then this one has to be here. Right? And then this goes over here. As this flares out and around. Comes down. There. This comes down there. Bunches up. So nice thing about folds, they really bunch up anytime there's a change. Yeah, exactly. Anytime this changes, that's when you're going to have your creases and stuff in the But what's nice about that is you can come back and fix it later, like it's fine. And here's the thing, the pants he's wearing are just normal ass pants. They're not anything special or anything like that. So I am actually going to build him some different like boots maybe. So kind of to follow the motif of that, and then there. And that. Also, there's belt buckle, right? So basically I want to make this a slimline version of what he's wearing. See what I mean? And you can start seeing it take shape a little bit. And if I come in on this line art layer and I erase the stuff that doesn't need to be there, you can start seeing how the silhouette changes. and how it actually starts reading okay. It's not great, but you know, really what I did, I really tapered down how big these pauldrons are. Ridiculous. Because at this angle, these pauldrons would be like down here. It would block the entire arm. So almost I took the whole armor thing and I shrunk it. Like I made it more kind of form-fitting. I might embiggen the pauldrons a little bit just because I like the silhouette that it gives me. They should be slightly bigger, but not astronomically so. Something like that, yeah. And then here. All right. So now the real fun. Let's put Duder's hair in. Let's do some with the women in his workplace. Heck yeah. I'll give him a sweatband. That'd be super good. You give him the what is it? The Murphy Brown, the Sally Jesse Raphael. That's what I'll give her. Make sure she's a strong, independent woman. She don't need no man. So that kind of wisps out. And see, the Sylvari's hair is crazy, which I dig it. I think it's awesome. Because it's almost like plant-based hair. It's just nuts. Let's see, it almost has to like... Here with the line art. Get rid of that line. He almost looks like the biggest fan on like Morrowind and Oblivion and stuff. So now the true test. Do I want the mask on or not? Yeah. Man, maybe it is Maybelline. Because what I could do. Man, let me just mask this. So, full disclosure, the mask is literally just it's literally just part of my gear right now. There's no real storytelling thing. Is this going to be thick and painterly? Maybe, but only at the very, very end. Only at the very end, like before I hit the save and like sign it. Because like that could work. He almost looks like a little like a bandit, like a it's almost like he's a what is the faction? I know this is a Guild Wars thing, but who are the bandits in Warcraft that have the Defias Brotherhood? Is that right? Like okay, yeah, Defias Brotherhood. I can't remember the boss's name. The person you go and they're on the boat and like you fight them early, like level 20, 25-ish. This was way back when. Nowadays you can play every expansion from like level 1, which is cool. I think it's a that's better. But yeah, so maybe this is him as a young rogue before he turns into like yeah, I can't remember what his name is. In the Barrens. Anyway, Van Cleef. Is that right? Van Cleef? That sounds familiar. So this is him as an adult. Hooray! So what if this is him as a young little rogue Padawan? You know? That could be cool. Look at them eyelashes. Look at these eyelashes on the... Yeah. I remember grinding that boss fight for... There was some drop, because I was a rogue, and he dropped a dagger at the time. And this is way back when you had to craft your own poisons, and you had to carry them in your bag. It wasn't just like a spell you could do. And there was something about his dagger where it like kept poisons up for twice as long. There was something. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was worth it. Get the 2B. So yeah, maybe that could be the story here. Maybe our duder here. Maybe this is his young, up and coming days as the old young rebel rouser. Here we go. Almost looks like a Mortal Kombat ninja. There we go. Hey, what's up? What's up, Alexander? Good to see you, my friend. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Going to the old battlegrounds arena. Going to them in a God, what was the battleground that had all the towers? And you had to like keep control of each tower for a certain amount of time. I would just go invisible and then do some God, what was the rotation? I had my spell rotation down too. It was like deadly poison, assassinate, killing blow. It was all that's like you have it all in cycle, so that way you would do an insane amount of burst damage right up front, and it would also slow them. So if they tried to run away, and the secret is you always go after the healer. You always do that. They don't see it coming. Yeah, so maybe I'll have to fix that though. That, kids, is what is called a tangent. It's where one line goes into another. So we have that. We're going to bring the belt around, right? There's the back, there's the back. So do I want... So what's kind of nice about this is it sort of looks like he has his sleeve rolled up. And I sort of dig that. I think that's a cool look. But if I do that here, it wouldn't make sense for him to have like a bare hand and like sleeve rolled up on this side, but a giant glove on this side. And it's funny, just based on this right now, I might actually get rid of this part because these look like suspenders, even though they're not supposed to be. Because it actually doesn't look like our duder's wearing a jacket. Because right now he's not. He's not wearing a jacket. Because he has his stuff tucked in, so it looks like suspenders are holding his pants up, which is not really the vibe. So, what other motifs are there? Okay. So those are the type of buckles. Okay, that's actually really handy. Then he has pouches. He has skulls, because skulls are awesome. Alright. I see. So now it's about taking the design language and making something else that is not... Yeah, he's gonna slide into people's DMs and do some... What would it be? Wouldn't be clogging, would it? clog dancing? No. It's like polka, right? He's gonna polka his way into your heart. That's what he's gonna do. No one's gonna stand a chance. You know what I mean? Like, look at him. Look at him with his uneven eye sizes and. And then, like, from here, we can do smoke, like, you know, you do something like that. Is what I'm thinking. Let me actually pull up some stuff. See if some of these are posted up yet. Okay. I'm gonna bring in some Thomas Elliott stuff so you guys can see just how freaking good he is, but also kind of the idea of what I was having about the finish. So here's that one. That one. One. I know there's like a few more. There's some on his socials that are like bang on. So let me go to his Insta real quick, and I will use my trickery and grab one of the images. Where is the piece I saw? There's a specific piece that I saw that is like bang on. All right, so here's one actually. Let me go to the post. And then get the image. Ooh. There's a new tab. There it is. Good size. Okay, so here's some. Let me bring it back over. So Thomas Elliott, like, this is the type of thing. So these are actually all in ink. These are actual ink wash, pen, pencil sketch, pen, ink wash stuff. So you can see, though, how he thinks of it almost like a gradient map. While it is true that this character has both gradients from both gradient maps, the other characters don't. It's just like one blotch, see this, of like color. But the same thing is maybe like here. Have the same type of gradient map. There's another one that I saw. Here's a good example. So this wolf actually has some blues, some yellows, like subtle shifts, while the background does not. The background's purely grayscale, but it still works as a full image, you know, because the foreground is a little darker. It has that same deal. So it kind of works within itself. And here, perfect example. All of your background and midground has your warms, while your foreground is primarily made of cools. And it works super well because instead of just value contrast, you also have temperature contrast to help you differentiate from what you're looking at. Super smart. So using color in the midtones only, kinda, sorta. I mean, it depends really, but a vast majority of his paintings are midtone. They are just. I mean, you have some kind of higher highlights like lighting keys. Then you have some highlights here, but a majority of it's going to be in the midtones. Because, like, there's no real darks here. I mean, there's this, right? There's this. Some of the, basically the ambient occlusion is where he goes super dark. Any place where there's not a hit of light. And then, okay, maybe the symbol, just because he has to. I guarantee you somebody's told him, hey man, you got to put the symbol on the helmet. And he, all right, I'll make it black. I'll show you. But see, so a lot of his stuff is very much value control. But then he's very mid-tone heavy, which is nice because I am too. And this one, of course, breaks that rule. Because he's good enough, he can break his own rules all the time. But yeah, you can even see the little toothbrush effect. Get toothbrush and some ink or watercolor and go sploop. Splotch it on there. But yeah, you see. So this gradient map. So this one's definitely gradient map. Guaranteed. But look how good it looks. Because if you look at it like this, he uses 2 gradient maps. He usually uses one for the background and maybe some non-essential characters and stuff that looks nice, but you don't really need to focus on it. And then he uses another one for all of your key things that you should look at. So if you keep that in mind, and now you look at the piece, it makes total sense, right? So it's a smart, I mean, super smart. I think balancing that is the real trick of it. But another thing that I've added to my brush pack, and it's something that I'm terrible at because I don't think I've ever done it before, is inking. Actually doing real honest to God, like inking like this. Because I think this would be really cool. I just have no clue on how to even start it. Because anything I think of logically doesn't make sense. Because I could be like, oh, I get it. It's just all the pure black is in shadow. Not necessarily. You know? Because, I mean, his hair and the shadow are the same value for Conan, you know? And yeah, well, you do have that, and you have some cross-hatching and stuff like that. It's not exactly... Thank you, Wolf Hunter. It's good to see you, brother. Because I love the dynamic range. You know what I mean? It just works. It's pure black and white. And yeah, you'll get some grays in there, but that's just because he smudges his ink, you know, rightfully so. To get the look. And that's actually just cross-hatching. That's nuts, man. Oh my god. And there's some Joe Mad line art. Like, I wish I had the patience to make line art look this good, but I don't. That's That's not me, man. Here's some more Joe Mad stuff. Super sick. Look at that. It's just, it's understated, but it's perfect. It's exactly what it needs to be. You know what I mean? But this is very much inked as well. Like, it's wizardry. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean? It's so good, it breaks my brain. Like, how can people be this good? I don't understand it. It literally doesn't make sense. You can tell me the theory about this all day long, and I'm like, no way. No way. Because the shapes read perfect. It's pure black and white. It's ridiculous. And like, how genius to have the outline of the axe. You have the cast shadow hiding the gore. You have the head down here. You have the trail, the black trail. This is like pure storytelling. It's ridiculous. And the nice thing is, I do have some great... I made some ink brushes that I really like, and they're part of the new brush pack. Inky Lines, Hard Triangle. These two are great, man. Love them, love them, love them. But... see what we can do. The nice thing about having this on its own deal, we bring this up. We can use this. We can duplicate it and use this as the start of our values. You know? In fact, let's do that right now. So if we're going to duplicate a layer, so you're going to see an art cheat in real time. Okay? Check this out. Let me grab my main brush. Actually, let me do it in a hard round brush. Okay, so we have that right there. That means the light's hitting. So we are going to get this right here, right? It's actually still going to hit here. This one's going to hit here. Those are going to stay dark. Okay. So see how we're already starting to block this in? So then here, we are literally just using this as our deal. That's true. Do we want to, this is where we make the decision. Do we want the mask on or do we want it off? Because I can just get rid of the line art, kind of paint a little bit over this, and then the face is done, essentially. And it'll look you're going for the character in the picture. Yeah, it's true. So we have that there. And then there. There we go. There you go. There's a real fast, but see how it's like super rendered because I used all the 3D lighting. Let's see if we come down here. And it's funny, it took me forever to realize that a majority, actually kind of a vast majority of my art buddies that have worked on Magic use DAZ to do their character models before they paint in on the cards, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, this made this a hell of a lot easier. You know? We can do that. Here's what we'll do. We're basically going to come in and do some ambient occlusion. Basically the parts right here that are not getting directly lit are going to get darker. That's going to start making these shapes really pop out a little more. Because this can get us closer to the rendering much faster, right? I'll actually darken that a little bit. Here though, there we go. And then this will actually be pretty dark. So this is part of the theory that the lighting overtakes and is more important than the values or the local value, I guess, of the thing, where the lighting is like on top of that. You know, which that, I mean, that does make sense. that there. So gonna hide this out a little bit. See, and this is where we can start making shapes and stuff. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one version. Let me try this. We'll go mask. We'll just see how it looks. I'll do it on its own layer. That way, if we don't like it, we can get rid of it, and then we can just erase. Because I actually have a feeling I might not like it. Need to just re-see. Okay. So it's darker right here than it is on the sides. Ignian, what's up, my friend? Hello, hello. So, we're going to use this right here. And we'll use this one. We'll actually keep that shadow and that shadow. Because that's cool. That way it kind of looks like it's more like form-fitting, I guess. So like, yeah, that's our nose right there. That's not bad. Then you get the darks. Kind of darken this up a little bit. Something like that, right? Decisions. Actually, let me go ahead and do that regardless. Add a little bit more depth to the, okay. Yeah. I don't know, with the mask or without the mask. I actually don't know. I actually don't know what would be Because, like, yeah, we could do it with a character like that, but if the whole idea is that he's younger here, I don't know, does the mask, like, fit the cadence at all? Like, does it fit? Yeah, I have no idea. This is one of those things of like, yeah, it could look cool either way. And I mean, if we didn't do the mask, I could these are the life and death decisions. Which is not super thrilling to watch, I know, but like, this is all the. And really, what I need to do is I need to come in and fix this kind of glove. Like, figure out the design of it a little better. And because, yeah, I love the hand render. But it doesn't make sense that he would have a huge glove here. Nothing right there. Maybe I can just maybe get rid of this glove and just add the old pulled up cuff right here as well. Essentially just move this idea up here like he has. And then what's fun is we also do the let's do this one. Okay. Main one. Yeah. We come in and kind of do the smoke look. And then it just begs the question, what could we put back here? Because now we're starting to get somewhat of a little story. If he's a younger kind of rogue, ranger, maybe like an apprentice in a guild or something, maybe the fire around here, maybe he's sent to like do reconnaissance after a battle or something. Like maybe a big battle took place. And then he was sent to like search for any, oh, go grab weapons or go grab, you know, so-and-so was carrying a letter. Go try to find the letter. Many interesting decisions to make. But I think that might do it for tonight. However, I do want to give you guys a little sneak peek of something. So, you know, with every brush pack, I do a long tutorial video about how to use the brushes, right? I'm going to do the same thing on this one, but I just want to show you a few of these brushes so you can start like oohing and on, you know? So I have a lot of my painterly ones, like normal. But if you see a lot of these, I'm just barely putting down pressure. Now I'm going to put down more pressure. Put down more pressure. They have built-in texture changes based on how much pressure you're putting down. So all of your, I found this technique out. I'm real happy about it. So all of my painting brushes now have this built-in, like almost watercolory wash type vibe, depending on how much pressure you put. And we got smooth. And you got smooth with the dry edges. So these will be for, oh yeah, I guess Procreate should use them. And it should be able to do that pressure sensitivity thing. Well, because yeah, I forgot Procreate can bring in ABR brushes. But the real ones, the ones that are going to be the talk of the town, are all of my Tradigital brushes. Because these have the same built-in nuance to them, but with every stroke you put down, it also does a slight value variance and a slight hue variance. With every single one of these, some of them are crazier than others. So these are all about that type of stuff. So every single brushstroke you put down. So these are my 2025 brushes. They should come out in November. They're done now, but I'm doing my last little bit of changing. And like, I'll actually pick a color so you can kind of see. But you see the subtle variances and stuff on these? They're going to make some super interesting looking paintings. And then I basically took my most requested brushes, like everybody's kind of favorite brushes that I always hear about, like, oh, I love this brush. And then I did redux versions of them. So my old Filbert brush has a little bit of that variance. My John Singer Sargent brush has little bits of that variance in it. I have a Liquid Scumble brush, which has the variance built into it. I don't know if you can see it, but like the subtle changes, all that. Grungy Splatter is a new brush, but it has the built-in variance. Craig Mullins Bristle Brush is a new brush I made. That, I think that one's flat, but I think, yeah, that one's flat, but it's really handy. But I also have some new watercolors. If you notice, as I'm pushing down, it's drying on the canvas. So it does some really cool subtle like pushes and pulls depending on how much pressure you're putting down. You can like glaze and wash. So yeah, these are some mean brushes. See that one? Yeah, I'm stoked for people to get these, because like, here's another wash, a little bit more of a bristly wash than this one. Perfect glaze brush. You know, just built-in glazing brush, just to have it. But then the real ones, oh baby. Let's get a watercolor stamp. And what you're getting yeah, I just naturally go to the Zorn palette. It's subconscious at this point. Look at that. That's one brush stroke. So there's that. There's canvas patterns, scratchy canvases, stamp patterns. I also added, so here's something that's going to blow a lot of people's minds. I added some halftone brushes because I'm starting to get the idea of liking halftone. I think it adds something a little crazy. There's like an outer and then like a corner piece that it can actually like fade into itself and fade down and change it around and stuff. So there's some pretty sick brushes in here, and I haven't showed all of them. There's a lot of fun ones, but yeah, just a little sample of what you can expect on them. But yeah, we're at a decent spot now with our duder. I do like the idea of the smoke. I just don't know if I like the shape of where it is right now. Because I'm starting to like that idea of he's on a battlefield after a big battle took place. But I'm wondering how I can show that with the smoke being there and maybe some like swords or something in the background, maybe some actual like bodies down there. I don't know. There's a lot we can do. But overall, and then of course we have to decide mask or no mask. So if we do mask, the eyes tell more of the story. If we do no mask, the expression does more of the story. Gonna wrap around the front? Yes. So the smoke will also wrap around the front. I'm just gonna put it in later and then lower the opacity. So yeah, it is going to like come up in front of him as well, doing that same, diagonal look. Yes, it is. So this is a Sylvari because it's based on my duder. My Sylvari guy right there. And like I could maybe even, really what I could do, I could, if I wanted to be super lazy, I can just photo bash. I can just grab this stuff and bring it in, and maybe like these trees with the moss or something. I could. There's nothing in the rule book that says a dog can't play basketball. Alright, so yeah, we're at a good spot. And see, everything's very clean right now. Everything's kind of clean. The, you know, the values are set up, the smooth and all this stuff. But this is going to be the thing to where we use this. We're going to splash some colors in, figure that out. Then we'll grab all the thick paint brushes and kind of go in and that. So yeah, that's true. I could literally just go into the game and find a decent like battleground area and kind of get my character sort of kind of in this, not in the pose, but like the focal length of where it would be, and then just take a picture and bring it in and use that to start. I don't like doing that all the time. Well, and on client work, I never do it. Even that's a big no-no for client work. But for personal work, who cares? You know? But yeah. So that's just easy way to, you know... Now it looks like he's a Terminator or something. But yeah, super easy way to bring in those values, you know? Just use the information that David Lee Roth style. Heck yeah, it's like Robin Hood stuff. That's what it is. Then I can, I think the reason why he looks younger, by the way, is his head is enormous. I just now noticed that. Because whenever I'm going to come out here, his cheek, just his cheek is like half the size of his shoulder. His head's huge. We'll sleep on it. We'll come back to this on Wednesday. Because I do want to make something like this. I've been wanting to make something like this for a while. It's good practice to use like one of my characters or whatever that I made in a game, and then put them in a pose that's not in the game, and like you use a lot of problem solving doing stuff like that. So we can do that, but yeah, maybe we might shrink his head a little bit, make him look a little more heroic, you know, because then the rest of his body's a little larger and more interesting. But if he's younger, this actually works okay too. And yeah, got to make the decision about the mask, right? Got to make that decision, finalize that. Got to make the decision about the glove. Do I like the idea of this just being rolled up sleeves? And then I can modify this one to also be just rolled up sleeves without this big kind of a Robin Hood glove. I mean, it could definitely be a perspective thing. Also, it could be that I didn't place the actual items on the character correctly. That's probably exactly what it is, actually. Because if we take out this other art stuff, that looks crazy with the with no lines. But yeah, I can see the head's proper proportion. It's the neck part So the proportions are correct. It's just whenever I added like this stuff, this, and then this, I think something about these lines near his chin are causing something to... Yeah. So see, that's cool, right? Because we really just utilized the power of the render and then just picked the values. So this is the type of render it's probably going to be, but it's going to be painted. Like everything's going to painterly and thick brush strokes and all that stuff. So I think it's going to turn out really cool. I do. I think it's worth making. It's just... I want it to be as good as it can be. And I don't think some of the decisions I've made, like with the smoke angle and stuff, maybe the smoke angle needs to kind of flatten out a little bit, or maybe, you know, there's composition stuff that I need to really work on. Dark gray, yes, actually, I can do that. Or I can, let me go normal. Let me go normal. Oh, nope. Multiply. Need to change that one to multiply for sure. But we can keep that down, and then we can lower this opacity down a little bit. So something like that. So it's less egregious, but then whenever you come in, you can see the sketch marks, you know? But I do think this is a composition problem more so than anything else, really. Yeah, but I mean, I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna look good. I think it's gonna be interesting. It'll give us time to play with kind of materials for the armor, for the shirts, the way the light reflects off of it or refracts. Like, using 3D is a great bump. Like, it gets you going to the cool stuff faster. And like I said, like, this was all... Let me do this. Remove all of these right here. So this is how it started, right? This was our main idea, is we wanted to get that sort of thing. And yeah, this pose was just from imagination. And I'm actually happy with kind of the proportions of it. It wasn't exactly right, but it wasn't bad. But then what we have is this one, which is a little more, I guess, like poetic, you know. Actually, let me duplicate this. Bring it in here. Okay, cool. And that there. Cool. Okay, awesome. So yeah, now I can just flip back and forth. Yeah, they tell different stories. So this one's a little more aggressive, almost like he's on the hunt, almost. Like I said, I like that hand. That hand I'm actually pretty proud of. That was just a quick 2-minute. I want his finger to do that, and I want his hand to be relaxed. Oh, yeah. It's true, actually. Yeah, maybe he is looking out, and this is him sensing something's wrong. And then up top, maybe like, oh yeah, you know what we could do? smoke going other direction. And then up here, you know what I mean? And then we can build maybe some rocks or something. That might work. Yeah, that might work. And then we can just kind of yeah, we can play with that. Yeah. What's up, Colin? Welcome, welcome, my friend. I mean, that could be doable. I think there is something to that. I think there's something to having our main figure up front, more detailed, more highly rendered, probably higher contrast. Yeah, maybe this is like one of the older recruits. Or maybe this is like the mentor if he is a young assassin or apprentice or whatever. And then he's the older, wiser one, kind of like watching over him to almost like it's a test. You know, whenever doctors or surgeons have to do a surgery and they have all the other surgeons like watching them. I wonder if it could be something like that. It's a cool idea. And that way I can kind of modify, since I haven't done any hardcore line art to really define this, I can make this bigger, bulkier, have the gloves. Then that decides that this can be a rolled up shirt for him. Just keep the hand. Because if we want to talk about it like it's a Thomas Elliot piece, if you notice all the Thomas Elliot stuff, these background characters are just, I mean, they're just suggestions. But then you get up front, you know, you get to the kind of the main stuff. And that's where a lot of that is Yeah, it's like this is a great example too, because you have kind of your main ideas, but then all of the other ones have the same design elements, but they're way looser, you know, because they're not as important to the overall render. I mean, they're important, but not like rendering important. Same thing here. Yeah, I mean, look how loose the wolves are, but they work great because you don't care. Basically, this is just a thing to help the composition of the main idea here. Yeah, and same thing here. Oh, a symbol. So like a clan symbol or something? Then we could do... So yeah, he can have the mask on, he can have the mask not on. More than actual render. Oh yeah, that's true. That's one of those things that maybe we can imply it. So some people can be like, oh no, the story is this, the story is this. Oh no, the story is the mentor looking at the younger one making the decision. Or somebody could read it and be like, no, 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 that's the same guy. Look at the hair. The hair's the same. The outfit's kind of the same. It's true. I feel like there needs to be something here, but maybe not. Maybe there doesn't need to be anything right here. As far as like, I mean, there's going to be brush strokes and all that stuff, but he's up here. And yeah, maybe. Because that is the whole idea, is I want to make it a little bit more graphic. So I'm going to bring this up to 100% so I can see it. There we go. That. And then, yeah, maybe if there's this and like... Yeah. So we have something like these. So let's see, something like that maybe. So yeah, I think you guys have some baller ideas, because this is already, it's looking way better. Like, way, way better. Because there's stuff to actually look at. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense, but maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe we just make things for the sake of them looking cool. You know? Oh, and now maybe it even has the motif now that what if this is him imagining about less details? That's very, very true, because I can just come in and kind of drape it over like that. But maybe now it's him as a young guy thinking about what he's going to be like older, like what he's wearing the starter armor and he wants to like graduate up to this. Yeah. Yeah, we have something a little more interpretive rather than literal. It's more of a narrative piece than a... That's cool, because yeah, I actually, here's the thing. I don't think I have a lot of narrative pieces in my portfolio. Because like, this would make a more interesting like comic book cover. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be more, it tells the whole story in one image. So maybe there is, yeah. Maybe this is the way to go. I think this is the way to go, in fact. Yeah, that'd be cool. You know. So, hopefully, I think someone on the channel talked about being a big fan of Tim McBurney. And I can totally see why. I've been studying more and more of him. So, it's stuff like, what if I tried for something like this? Not these colors necessarily, but... You know what I mean? He has a nice, beautiful mix of the painterly stuff, but it's still very readable. Let's show another few from him. Yeah. And see, he has the nice kind of... Oh yeah, man. And like... Yeah, McBurney's shapes are ridiculous. Here's another just like jaw dropper. You know, like very, that is just pure shape language. You know. Oh, and here's a good idea. He's done a. Let me go to. Let me find that one. There it is. See if I had the confidence to do it. So here's gradient map. So the gradient map of keeping the stuff around it like cooler, and then his main focal point is warmer. I think that's a super dope look, because you have your blue greens, and then he and the background are the only thing that's warm. So I mean, this is so far out of my league, like as far as mentality and like putting it together. And yeah, that is sick. Just super good. You know what I mean? But I wonder if we could do kind of our take on something like that. And maybe using something like this, we could do that. I'd really have to clean up these shapes, though. You know, because I mean, there is no denying what this design is. Do you know what I mean? There is no question about what his designs are. They are super strong. And see, like, you can tell how the bag fastens. You can tell, you know, how many rocks are around the fire. You know what I mean? Like, very... God, yeah, see those nice wash brush it, like... Looks to me like the lines came last. Maybe so. I do have a few of his tutorials I need to go through, because his YouTube is incredible. I have started watching more and more of him. As long as for details, but painting everything down first. I think that's kind of what he does. I think he goes... Yeah, he does lines first. He does sketch first, then lines. Then he does his painting, and then lines again. Which makes total sense, actually. But see, something he talked about was, instead of using just pure value for your contrast, he would use more color for his contrast, kind of like a like Van Gogh painting, rather than a John Singer Sargent. It would be, or like a Dean Cornwell. It would be like he would just do color temperatures. Yeah, but I mean, this dude's ridiculous, man. It's almost like Mobius. Like, you can see a ton of Mobius mixed with like Miyazaki, which is that's a mean combo. That's a mean combo. You know, that dude's the real deal. Yeah, see, this one's sick. I just need to... That's what I need to do. I need to start using gradient maps and not really care about what color things are, but use the gradient maps and then paint within it. Like, because yeah, the grass is green here. The grass is green. But you can see like the texture here. This is more about the gradient than it is what color is his armor. Burr. You know? Like, yeah, see, just red fire. There's no need for a yellow and then an orange and then bright red and then, like, my stuff's like super obvious that way. But he don't need it. I will say that's one of the best parts about being a pro, is you realize how much you don't know. You know? Like, just how much I'm not great at the art thing. You know what I mean? And try to make it work. That's a great way to go. That's a great way to go. Here, let me move this down because I think we're gonna head out for tonight. It's already 2:30, so I gotta get to sleep. We got Labor Day, so everyone has off tomorrow, which is cool. We're gonna go try to shop. I don't know where. Lord knows. Lord knows what tomfoolery we'll come up with. But I think I may, I got the Ghost in the Shell big compendium, like 800-page deal. Looking through that, I've seen some incredible line work and like composition stuff, and I've tried to like soak it in. And then maybe I need to get like the first few runs of Hellboy. I think I have it actually. I think there was a Hellboy Humble Bundle, and I think I got it. And this was years back, but I think I have a lot of them. Let me check. And then probably like, what would Joe Mad? Like Battle Chasers is probably the thing he's most kind of known for. Darksiders is the gaming stuff, and I did reinstall Darksiders Genesis because that has like moving cutscenes, like the graphic novel cutscenes that move, kind of like Peace Walker and Portable Ops and stuff for Metal Gear. New Hellboy looks great. The exact opposite of the new Crow movie, which is balls. Would you ever be willing to try and adapt? Oh, let me look up the name real quick. That sounds familiar. The Trek. Ooh. Oh, wow. That would be tough. See, the thing that, like, it's beautiful. The thing that is super interesting to me about that. Let me pull one up. It almost looks like when it's funny, it almost reminds me of the Tim McBurney stuff because of the way the colors are integrated and stuff. But it looks wash heavy, right? Because you put in your local and then you do a wash of your kind of mother color. God, but like look at the reds just popping. Red. You have these little bits just sprinkled throughout. Then you have the really nice high value, really light. Yeah, it kind of brings your eye through it. Yeah, there'd be a lot to study here. And here's the thing, I might actually be better. Who knows? I've never really tried this type of style or the Tim McBurney style. But who knows? Maybe I might fall into a groove to where, since I'm not worried about bounce lights and all this other stuff, maybe I make better stuff. Maybe I don't get so caught up in the logistics and I just start making images. Yeah, that's cool. That's dope. That's a good idea. See, that's what I mean. There's so many people to study. There's so much to look at and like learn from and just like absorb it, which is cool, but it's also overbearing. It's like I wish days were 87 hours long, and also that human beings didn't need sleep, and then I didn't need to eat food, and I had $80 million, so then I would never have to really like take commissions again if I didn't want to. Thing is, I would want to. I like that. I like it a lot. But in just study, you know. Le Chat Noir. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Right. So it's the black cat, right? Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. But yeah, I could spend hours just eyeballing and learning and, you know, trying to like mentally catalog. And then what I'm finding is having all the theory. It's kind of like having to push some of it out of the way to get to the stuff that's helpful per image. But yeah, I mean, it makes total sense why he'd be considered the godfather of poster art. Just incredible. Just not minimalism. It's not the right thing, but like not putting too much, not trying to get himself over, not trying to like, oh, look how good I can paint. Like, it looks like there's no ego in it. It's just like, here's the thing, super confident, pulls no punches, but doesn't need to, because it's like what you see is what you get. And you can look and see this finer details and like, oh, the nuance and stuff. But also it's like, it's almost like he knew he was going to do that step 30 steps ago. It's like how a chess player knows moves way ahead of time. It's like that. But yeah, that is my time as well, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out, as always. And thank you for the great recommendations. It's making that image look way better. So that's exciting. It's going to be real fun getting into the nitty gritty, kind of making it work, making it sing, as it were. And yeah, we will be doing that on Wednesday for sure. I'm going to be recording the rest of the YouTube video. It's actually not a super long YouTube video. I don't know why it's taking me so long to get it. I think it's just because we're so busy here at the house. But yeah, we will catch you guys next time. And thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you all very, very much. But until we meet again, take care, have fun, go paint, go make cool art, and I'll see you soon. Deuces.